I love it, man. You've been super hands-on and accessible too. So that means a lot to anytime someone's that way. It's awesome. So can I pick your brain on a couple user questions?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the first one, and this one's huge, and I'm interested in this selfishly too, because I know what it means for me as an entrepreneur, but this is the concept of taxes. So you're an expert in helping people stop the leaks, like you say, like 10% of people's income is going to unnecessary taxes and all these things. But my question is, I know where you stand on this for entrepreneurs. What about the average W-2 worker? Are they overpaying taxes as well?
Not as likely that they are, because it's kind of, they just have to pay what they pay. Here's the big mistake a W-2 earner has when they get a tax refund. It means that you just gave the government a interest-free loan. So you want to change your exemption so you don't, you want to keep it within $1,000 that you would either owe or that they would owe back to you, so that you can keep that money working for you along the way.
Okay. Yeah, I heard a scary statistic that it was like 60+% of the population didn't realize that their tax refund was their own money coming back to them. Yeah. They thought the government was paying them. I was like, oh no, this is brutal.
Gotta help people, man. They're doing the best they can, but man.
It's just like nutrition, man.
The world has tried to make it complex. The institutions want it to be confusing,
Absolutely. So another one we had was, this was from a mama who needs to buy a van, but she's in her 30s. And she says, what do you say to someone who's never played the game? So now she's in her 30s, has zero debt, but zero credit as well. How can she go from no credit to enough credit to buy a big purchase like a van?
Apply for 3 to 5 credit cards all on the same day, so that it only looks like one inquiry. And even if you're not going to use them frequently, just use them once a quarter. Charge, pay it off. It'll build credit depth. Okay.
Okay.
That's super helpful. That'll help you to go get a loan for a vehicle. So,
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So we talked a bit about debt. This person had a specific question about student loan debt, which we talked about. This is very common. So she says that she has been putting off these student loans with income-based deferments, but obviously she's accumulating interest. Is this a good way to tackle this, or should she be trying something different?
Depends on your interest. Are you earning a higher interest rate than what you're paying on that deferment? No big deal. If you're not saving money and you're just accumulating that deferment, maybe you need to start making a payment towards it. But I talked to Tim Carden, who's one of your coaches, and he says most of their strategies around student loans are just making sure that they get the lowest interest rate possible. And then old student loans, it seems like it's easy for people to out earn. Newer student loans are higher interest rates, so they're just getting people to pay them down.
Cool. So again, the idea of if you can out earn that interest rate, you're okay. So the next question we had was about allocating income. This person has heard a concept of allocating savings called the 50-30-20 rule, which is 50% bills, 30% fun, and 20% savings. How does this compare to your allocation?
That's a little high on the savings compared to my allocation. I'm on 15%.
Okay.
And I don't differentiate after that on the remainder money. It's just after you've done 15%, 3% for your guilt-free spending, and then the rest of the 82% to live on. And mine is definitely much higher on the fun side than it is on the other piece.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
You get a lot more money coming in. You got a lot more options.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next one is about investing for kids. And I know this was touched on a bit in the Bank on Yourself program as well, as cash flow banking thing. So I'm interested to get your take here. This is another mom who says she has a UTMA savings account for her 10-year-old with less than $3K in it, and she's contributing $100 a month. Should she continue this, or is there something better?
Yeah, it's cool that she's doing that. I like to see that, that takes real love and thought and being deliberate to do that for, $100 a month, and you got some money in there for your child. So that's awesome. What I do, I don't know if it's better, but I actually, because I'm a business owner, I hire my kids. I can pay them up to $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year, tax deductible to me and tax free to them. And then I actually put that into cash flow banking under their name.
I remember you talking about that. That's brilliant. I love that idea. And there's a lot of those weird little tax things. Like I can have business events at my house 14 days a year.
14 days.
Yeah. Such cool little things like that, man. So we had a question about the stock market, but we just talked about that a bit and the correction and all these things. So
Yep.
this other person has an interesting question. This is the last one I'll take from the clients with you, but it's basically on the psychology of investors. So she cited Black Monday, this event in 1987, where everybody panicked, and these were all professional investors. So like you talked about, you know a lot more about the philosophy and psychology and those things. Does it concern you at all that we now live in a world where just any average Joe on the street can like sign up for an E-Trade account and trade stocks? How does that change things? Does that make things more volatile than it was back then?
No, because there's something that's way worse, and it's the supercomputer. So I read a book called Flash Boys, and Flash Boys talks about the advent of building this fiber optic system where when you go to buy in the stock market with your average Joe that has a Ameritrade account, a flash trade comes in, bumps the price, and skims you. And
Whoa.
so there were flash crashes that we saw where we would see hours of a trade just going, like the market just diving and then coming back. That's a flash crash because of the supercomputers and the things that were happening. And people had no clue what was going on until someone out of the Royal Bank in Canada finally figured it out. Because what happened is you have to go slow with your trade to find out what was happening underneath it, and everything was too quick, so it would happen so fast they couldn't even see it. But when they got slower, they would see these people fishing to mark the price up when you're trying to buy. So the flash crashes have had more impact than your average investor getting in there because of the amount of money that they're dealing with. So when major institutions sell, like the thing is, there was something called the reciprocal desk. So the reciprocal desk, if we go back to 2008, let's say the Lehman Brothers, let's say that they needed to, do a trade, but they were short on cash. So they could actually go to the reciprocal desk. They would give them the money until the trade happened and their liquidity came through. And that worked for 100 years until it didn't, when they were finally like, don't give it to them. And all of a sudden they get in trouble. Everybody shorts their stock, meaning they're selling it as if it's going to go down, and it kills the account. So that happened to, multiple companies, Lehman and those guys. And so I feel like some of these things, they work until they don't,
Yeah.
And it's a matter of time, could we have what happened on Black Monday back in 1987? Absolutely, because major institutions that choose to do what's called a naked short sell, a naked short sell is they could just drive a stock all the way down. And, there's not enough protections around that. And so that's part of what we saw with some of the major drops in 2008. I just don't invest in the stock market for a number of reasons. Number one, the fiduciary responsibility of a CEO of a publicly traded company is to the shareholders, not to the employees and not to the customers.
Right.
And so my problem is we continue to have corporate greed and pressures of stockholders creating short-term thinking at the expense of the population.
Yeah.
So I don't like to fund public companies because even our beloved Warren Buffett, that is quotable and cute as hell for an old man, but the bottom line is ruthless as hell when it comes to business.
Of course.
They buy a company, they strip that company to the bare minimum employees that it requires to produce the results. So they build that stock value on the back of employees who actually have families and a life that they now have to suffer because now a shareholder who just put money in there and sits back and collects more than they could ever spend. I just don't like that. I like the original intent of the stock market, raising capital for companies that needed the amount of money to build that big of an infrastructure so they can go public to raise that capital. Now, why do people go public? To cash out. And you know what? I don't love these companies that have major negative cash flow, WeWork, Uber, Lyft, that are then going to go public and cash out when they haven't even proven the model to be cash positive. So I do not participate in the stock market at all. $0. None.
That's such a good point, man. I really didn't even think about it from a philosophical standpoint like that. I mean, I look at it as like, I don't want to be up against supercomputers and people who this is their full-time job.
Right.
But damn, yeah, that just hit me like a ton of bricks. That's a really good point.
Dude, I was just at this event and this woman sitting next to me was a day trader. And I was like, I want to be respectful in my question, but it's a true question. I said, you do day trading. Why? She's like, because it provides me a good lifestyle. I'm like, yeah, I get what it does for you what does it do for the world?
Mm.
She's like, well, it provides me a way to earn money no matter where I live. I'm like, yeah, that's you. But does it bring liquidity to the market? Or is it simply you're smarter than someone else, so you take their money?
Wow.
And then my wife grabbed my knee, like, shut up, you're going to make her cry. But it was a serious question.
Yeah.
It was like, why do things if we don't know the value it provides to multiple people?
Right.
It goes back to our zero-sum game. We're not living in a winner versus loser. We can all win, but we have to have that mindset.
It's so true, man. And I really wasn't thinking about it like that, because last week with the crazy sell-off, like I have some additional cash. That's the first thing I'll say too. If you're going to invest in stocks, make sure you have your foundation finances set, hopefully some cash flow banking and everything. Only spend money you're willing to lose. But I looked at it as a game. I said, oh, some stocks are discounted, and I grabbed some, and I've already made a great return on that money. I used trailing stops to do that, which was, I talked to Tim about it and everything.
Yeah.
But man, you got me second guessing, dude. I didn't think about it that way, because I care so much about what I do.
I get that energy that I'm not spending buying stocks to put into things that matter to me.
Yeah.
Writing books, filming videos, spending time with my family. Like, dude, I could probably, I'll be candid.
Okay.
I could be worth 4 times more than I am right now.
Yeah.
If I sold the stock market. Can you imagine if we sold you stock market shit? I'd get paid so much more on you.
Yeah.
And you have your account with us forever. And I get paid every month, whether it makes money or not. Right now, how do we get paid? You write us a check.
Yeah.
That's the only way I make money, is you writing us a check.
Yeah,
you have to know that you're paying us versus having it automatically come out. But you know what? I know better. And my life's still pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So I don't need to go sell out to make more money. I
That's
make
so
enough to have the life that I want.
Yeah.
Why do I need to go sell out my energy to chase more if it doesn't really fulfill me more?
Dude, I'll give you a great example of this, and I've talked to Rob about this as well. Rob and I have talked about like the mission versus making money, because him and I both are like, why are we not as good at making money as these other people? But I have had multiple times where companies will approach me and be like, hey, you need to just make your company an MLM, make it a pyramid scheme, and you will make 5 times more money than you're making like within year 1. And I just won't. I'm like, no, I refuse to do that. But I didn't think about it on the back end. I might be investing in companies in the stock market that are making decisions that I don't agree with morally.
Right. And what's nice is we can all make a good living without having to sell out.
Sure.
And in the long term, we might not suffer major losses when we were disconnected from the outcomes.
Right.
So our problem is not a lack of opportunity, man. Our problem is a lack of discernment between opportunities and distractions. And some money-making things are merely a distraction, even if they make money.
Dude, spot on.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. I love that, man. Thank you for the reminder. That's a big deal. So, but anyway, dude, I don't want to take up all your day here, but
I appreciate it. This is fun. It's good.
Yeah, man. So just, there's a ton of good tidbits in there, tons of value for everybody. But if they want to continue and connect with you, like what's the best way for them to get connected with you?
Wealthfactory.com /podcast has some really cool assets, or they can text 801-503-9667, 801-503-9667, and put WWRD in the subject line. The downloads on me of What Would the Rockefellers Do? It's my gift. If they want a physical copy, they can, pay for the shipping and handling, and I'll pay for the printing of the book. So 801-503-9667, WWRD in the subject line.
Beautiful, man. I love it. And I'll include all that in the show notes. We'll make it easy for people. And I highly recommend the book. So Garrett, thanks again, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
Really good to, be on. And I really enjoyed our time together, man. Have a great day.
All right, man. You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.